Good morning, students, and welcome to English language class today. It's good to have each of you here with us, and I trust that you all are doing well. Today for English language, what we're going to be looking at is letter writing. But before we proceed with today's class, I would like for us just to take a few minutes and review what we did last week. So who remembers what last week's topic was? Jaden. Yes, it was on paragraphs, right? Good job. Give him a nice hand for that. And what did we say a paragraph was? Christine? It is a short piece of writing that is usually made up of more than one sentences. Very good. Give her a nice hand for that. And who remembers how many parts the paragraph has? Yes, Johnny. The paragraph has how many? 3 parts. Good. So let's take a look at it. So last week we did indeed say that the paragraph has 3 parts to it, and those 3 parts are the topic sentence, supporting sentences, and the closing sentence. Now, when we look at the topic sentence class, this is a sentence that tells the main idea. The supporting sentences, they give details about the main idea, and then finally the closing sentence ends the paragraph and restates the main idea of the paragraph, right? And just to help reinforce what you learned last week. So now let's continue on with letter writing. Now, I would like for you to access your device and then go into the English language WhatsApp group. You'll notice that there is a link there. Click on that link and the link will take you to a YouTube video that deals with or discusses letter writing.
Dear Emma, today I scored my first goal at soccer. Mom, I'm writing a letter. A letter, you know, like a message you send to someone? No, more like a friendly letter. How do you write a friendly letter? There are tons of ways to communicate with people. Talking, phone calls, text messages, emails, instant messaging, and letters are all ways to communicate. A friendly letter can tell about your day, how you feel, or it can even be a thank you note. For me?
Okay, students, so now that you've taken the time to view that video, I would like to ask you to think of a definition for a letter. So what would you call a letter? What do you think a letter is? You have 3 minutes to work on that. So think about your definition, and then I'll be asking you to share that with me and the class after 3 minutes. So we're going to brainstorm a definition or meaning for a letter. What do you think a letter is? Christine? Say that again. A way for us to communicate with others. Good. I like that definition. I like that meaning. So when we think of what a letter is, class, one definition for a letter is that a letter may be defined as written, typed, or printed communication sent in an envelope by post or messenger. In the day and age that we live in now, there are many different means by which we can actually communicate with other people. All right? And letter writing is just one of those. A workable definition for a letter. What I would like for you to do, students, is to access your devices once more, go to the English A WhatsApp group and click on the link there. That link will take you to a game-based quiz that deals with formal and informal language. You have 5 minutes to work on that. Throughout that quiz, you'll notice they would have been asking you to choose between formal and informal language. And just like those 2 types of languages that you were choosing between, there are only 2 types of letters in general. And those 2 types are formal and informal letters, all right? So what are those 2 types, class? They are, right, formal and informal letters. And so when we look at a formal letter, this is a letter that is written in formal language in the stipulated format, and it's for official purposes. A informal letter is a letter written in a friendly manner to someone you are familiar with. The formal letter is usually used for professional communication, and the informal letter is used mostly for students. So now that you understand the difference between the formal and the informal letter, I would like for you to think back on that game that you did earlier. Remember that game on formal and informal language? If you notice on my whiteboard here, there are some sentences from that same game. What I would like for you to do is to link the sentences from the game onto this chart that we have on the larger. Thank you so much for working out this matching game. So let's take the time to look to see if you placed the sentences under the correct columns, right? Let's examine it to see if they're all correctly placed. So for formal letter, we have the meeting is at 4 in the headmaster's office. Does that sound formal or informal to you, class? Right, it sounds formal, so that's correct. Let's look at this one here now. So what are you going to do after class? Does that sound like how you would speak to someone in a formal manner? No, it sounds very informal, right? Like something you'd say to a friend or so. So that's informal, this is correct. Let's look at this one here now. The airplane will take off in 10 minutes. How does that sound to you? Formal or informal? Formal, right? So this is correct as well. Let's look at this one now. You are nuts if you think I'm going to eat that. Would you write that in a letter to someone who you don't know? Would you say that to someone who you are not familiar with? No. So this here is informal, right? You say this to people who you know and to someone you're familiar with. Let's look at the final one. This hot dog, let's look at the final one now, right? This hot dog is totally yummy. Now, does that sound like formal language to you? Because notice it's under the formal letter section. This hot dog is totally yummy. No, right? You would usually say that to your friend or someone who you are close to or someone who you know. So this is incorrectly placed and it's more informal, so we need to make the switch and move it from under this formal letter column and place it under this informal letter column. Alright, so now when we look at it, we see that everything has so students, now what I would like for you to do is I would like for you to think of when you would write a friendly letter, and then I want you to pair with someone in the classroom here and share your thoughts with them. And then when you're finished pairing, I would like for you to come back to your seat now and you're going to share your response with my class about when to write this friendly letter. I would like to hear some of your responses. So we'll start with Padmini. Yes, Padmini, when do you think we should write a friendly letter? When you're inviting your friend to come spend some vacation time with you? Alright, sounds good. John, when you're inviting your friend to a birthday party? Very good, very good. So now we've learned what a letter is, we've learned about the different types of letters, and we've learned about when to write a friendly letter. I would like for us to examine the parts of a friendly letter. And just to let you know, as was mentioned before, right, the friendly letter is a type of an informal letter. Alright, and remember there's only two types of letters, formal and informal. So let's look at the parts of a friendly letter. Does anyone have any idea, before we move forward, what the parts of a friendly letter may contain? Julia? I hear Julia say you should put a date in the letter, on the letter. Good, good. Freddie? Yes, your name should be there. What's another word for your name though? Signature. Very good. Let's take a look at the parts of a friendly letter. So the friendly letter has 5 parts to it. There is, first of all, the heading, and this is the part of the letter that usually will contain the date, and it will also contain the address of the person who is writing the letter or sending the letter. Then there is the greeting or the salutation section, and in the greeting area is where you will put dear whomever it is you're writing to. So let's say the person you are writing a letter to was Christine, you would put dear Christine in the greeting section. Then the third part of the friendly letter is the body. And this is the part where you will put the information that you want the person whom you are sending the letter to know. So if you wanted to tell them about your birthday party that you're inviting them to, it is within the body section that you would write that information. Then there is the closing. And at this point, this is where you would generally end up by saying yours truly, or your friend, or so on. So you can use those two, or there's some others that you can use as well. And then of course, there is the signature. And the signature is the part of the letter, or the section of the letter, where you usually would put your name, as we so earlier would have learned. All right? So good job so far on the parts of the friendly letter. I would like for us now to just take a look at this. And if you will notice this example, we have parts of a friendly letter, the heading. Notice only the date is there though. Right? And remember, like I said, you can also put your address there, not only the date. Then of course there's a greeting, dear mom. And as we continue to look, we see in the body section is where all of the information that the sender wants to write is placed. So here it has, I am having so much fun at summer camp. So now that you've learned about all of the parts of the friendly letter, I would like for you to work this activity. So the activity that you'll be working on is this one that you see present here, and it asks for you to match the letter strips below to its corresponding counterpart on the graphic organizer on the next slide. Meaning that you need to take all of these parts and correctly place them on the correct sections here. Cindy decided to share her completed work with us. So let's see if she completed this activity correctly. So she has for the signature, it says, Dear Devika. Is this correct, class? Yes, because we said in the greetings or the salutation section, this is where you put dear whomever it is you're writing to. Now let's take a look at her heading. The heading at the top there, it says Lot 5, Soesdijk, East Bank, Demerara, 29th of June 2021. Is this correct? Yes, because we said it is the heading that we place the exactly your address and the date. Let's look at the body. Now we know this is correct because this is where majority of the information is. Let's look at the closing now. Your friend. Is that correct? Yes. Good. And then let's look at the signature. It says Adam. Is that correct? Yes. So this has been done correctly. Let's give her a nice hand. Well done. Now, students, what you'll do for me next is you will examine this letter that is given to you, and what you'll do is that you will identify the different parts of the friendly letter, and then you will organize all of these parts correctly. So you'll identify the parts of the friendly letter from here, and then you'll organize each of the parts. So students, Padmini sent in her completed work online, and she said it's okay to share it with the class, so I'm sharing it with you now. And notice what she did in identifying and organizing the different parts of the friendly letter. Let us examine it to see if she did the correct thing. So here we see she has lot 620 Arcadia Housing Scheme, East Bank, Demerara, and she has the 12th of August 2021. Now we notice the date and we notice the address, right? So this part is correct. She has this as the heading, good. And it's been correctly placed, right? Now let's look at how she begins. It begins with Dear Rose. And what did we say this part of the letter is? Did a good job identifying and organizing this letter in the correct way. Let's give her a nice hand. Students, now that we've come to the end of our lesson, I have one final activity for you to do. There is a link in the English language group that I would like for you to go and click on. That link will take you to a exit slip quiz. So you need to go and complete that quiz before you're able to exit class today. I'm sure you'll enjoy because it is based on the friendly letter. And if you do not mind, I would like for a few of you to share your scores with us after you have completed the quiz. You have 5 minutes to get this done. You can go and get working on it now. Lisa would have shared her response with us, and she got 6 out of 6 on the exit slip quiz, giving her a total of 100%. Good job, Lisa. And then Brian also shared his response with us, and looking at the results, here we see that Brian scored 5 out of 6, giving him a total of 83%. Good job, Brian. And so students, I trust that you enjoyed today's class on the informal letter, particularly the friendly letter, and I trust that you'll put into practice what you would have learned. Take care and have a good day.